Hey everybody, welcome to Trading Capital's exclusive analysis. In today's video, we're going to be primarily touching on natural gas, some of the natural gas stocks, and then we'll also move along to the oil market. So natural gas had a pretty important day today. And what I mean by that is it had a pretty important close and a very bullish close. So nat gas finished up 4.38%. Now, the nat gas bulls don't want to start celebrating yet because you still have not cleared the really what I believe is the short squeeze zone. I think this zone, once we get above this 256 zone, this is going to be what I'm going to call the short squeeze zone. So I think we're very close to seeing a potential short squeeze, and we just have to really get some more follow through to the upside for this potential, 19% range to really see a short squeeze. Now, we haven't had a double-digit day in nat gas for quite a long time. So I do think that providing the inventories come in positive, providing that we clear this technical picture and that there's no hidden surprises, I think that we could be in the near-term horizon setting up for a big short squeeze, because the amount of shorts in natural gas via the levered ETFs is truly amazing to certainly witness and see. But what is different about this potential move in nat gas is one thing. There's a few things that is different, but what I want you to pay attention to, or at least what I'm observing, is this purple moving average. That is the 50 daily moving average. And for the first time since we've started this whole downtrend, I mean, really collapsing, this is the first daily close or secondary daily close above the 50 moving average. So notice how we got rejected here. Notice how you had a close above it there, but got rejected. Close above here, got rejected. Close above, got rejected. Rejected here. This is the first 2-day close above the 50 daily moving average we've had since nat gas started its downtrend. That is a very bullish signal to me from a technical standpoint. That's telling me that this is likely a rounding bottoming formation that is being put in place. And being the fact that this bottoming formation is happening on a massive weekly pivot, and then even better, the massive monthly pivot over here, and you kind of have two monthly reversal candles, this is making me even more bullish on nat gas. Now, the big level I'm watching is obviously this pivot. If we get a daily close above this pivot, I'm a firm believer we're going to start seeing the shorts cover, and we're going to start seeing this squeeze to the upside, because not only will you have shorts covering their position, you're also going to have a lot of natural buying starting to take place now that you're above the key moving averages. And being the fact that nat gas closed near the highs of the chart is another bullish aspect. And then I want to show you this cool down sloping trend line. If you take this pivot high to this pivot high over here, look what we just did today. We had a beautiful technical potential breakout. You really want to see another daily close above this high, and then we have a confirmed breakout to the upside. So nat gas is definitely on watch. This is a big time level for nat gas, and I do believe that we are very close to seeing this explosive move higher in nat gas. Even if you look at some of the resource stocks like AR, full disclosure, I am long AR. This is having a pretty big move off of the lows as well. Notice how it's attacking the 50 daily moving average again on a heavy degree of volume. That's showing accumulation. And what I am noticing on AR is this beautiful downsloping trend line. Your pivot high all the way in November. Look what we basically broke out of on Friday and confirmed the break today. That is a bullish technical breakout in my opinion on AR. Let's look at some of the other ones like EQT. That's having a beautiful move to the high end of the range, also trying to break out. I mean, you have some beautiful levels here that are kind of staring you in the face of nat gas, and you could see definitely another 3-bar surge to the upside, being the fact that you could have another squeeze tomorrow to the upside on EQT if nat gas gets some follow through. But being the fact that nat gas is pushing up and the resource stocks are also participating is a very bullish sign, because the spec money flows into the resource stocks where they typically provide more leverage, and that's typically what you want to see. You want to see the resource stocks also breaking out right along with the actual underlying natural gas price. So I still remain bullishly optimistic. Let it be said that natural gas is not an easy trade. It has been wild. It could certainly go back down to the lows, but at this point in time, it is looking more likely to keep pushing up higher. Let's move along to the oil industry. So WTI crude had a nice day today, finishing up on the session, closing around the 71.26. It's up 1.82%. Realistically speaking, my opinion on crude hasn't changed. I still think you've broken some pretty key levels, and they need to go a little bit lower before you hit some more major technical support on crude. This is really a longer term time frame pattern that I'm looking at, and as of now, you don't have any sort of reversal candle formation that has occurred in the crude oil price. But realistically speaking, I'm seeing a lot of the weekly moving averages starting to slope down. Short term positive, you're holding the weekly 200, but I do think that you're likely to see a move down to 57 and then potentially even a little bit lower from that aspect. And you are seeing a lot of the economic data starting to break down, so it would naturally, crude would naturally follow the economic data to the downside. If we continue to see economic data weakening and falling, crude should respond downward in the near term price action. So we'll pay attention to crude very, very closely because it's certainly interesting. Now, XLE was one of the sectors that actually held up pretty well for the majority of the day. It did pull off the highs, but notice on the XLE, you're still holding this 1-year moving average on the daily chart. In my opinion, the XLE is still looking vulnerable to heading lower. You have broken this upsloping trend, and I do think that this is a little bit of a rounding topping formation, creating in a lower high here. So you have your high, lower high, lower high. You are creating a bit of a wedge pattern that obviously could break either way, but this pattern is looking a little bit more favorable to at least come down to fill this gap where maybe you could start bottom picking some individual energy stock names. But realistically speaking, if natural gas continues to make a move to the upside, I don't think it's going to impact the actual energy sector, XLE, very, very heavily because primarily XLE and a lot of the energy stocks are primarily tied to oil. That's the bigger business. Obviously, some of the individual names like AR, EQT, and the likes of those would definitely have continued strength to the upside. And it's good to see that they've actually confirmed the breakout, especially AR. I mean, let me just clear up this chart to make it easier for us to see. If we just remove all of the drawings, what I want you to pay attention to is if we take one simple trend line from this pivot and drag it all the way down across, you've now had a technical breakout. Friday you peaked above, today you confirmed. This is a beautiful technical setup. Now, off of technical breakouts, what you usually see is a small check back. Maybe you fill this gap, and then the bigger and larger directional move. However, because these stocks have been so beaten down, we may not get that check back. We may just get some continued sideways consolidation and then stair step its way up. But it's really going to come down to what the actual natural gas price action does. As long as natural gas continues to stay firm, these stocks can move higher along with nat gas. But watch this short squeeze territory. We get in there on a daily close, we're going to see a pretty big move to the upside, in my opinion. That's how I am positioned for this move. On that note, thank you all for tuning in. Please give this video a big like down below. Share it if you found anything useful in this overall information. Take care, everybody.